All right, folks, many communities have been negatively impacted due to what is observed as ad hoc approach to solving the country's housing solution. Joining us this morning, our Charlemont Citizens Association President, Olympian Anthony Davis, and Dr. Patricia Green, Built and Natural Environment Advocate. Good morning to you both. Welcome to Smile Jamaica. I hope you're both very well this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us.
It is our pleasure. Mr. President, where is Charlemont? Which Charlemont we're talking about here? 'Cause I know there's a Charlemont High School in Clarendon, but that's not where we're talking about.
No, we're talking about Charlemont Drive off Barbican Road, adjacent to Hope Pastures.
Okay. I'm going to start with Dr. Green. Dr. Green, what is the issue here? What is the issue we're talking about here this morning?
Oh, God. I am going to use the word unplanned development because there's development that is planned and ordered in our city. But what seems to be evolving on the landscape seems to be unplanned and nobody knows what is happening. The authorities cannot give us any information about what is happening next door. I'm sure you have that problem where you live, Neville. Everybody in the Kingston and St Andrew area, everybody has been impacted. Negative.
Yep. I'm not certain if you guys have a television on, but I'm hearing a background sound and it will throw off everyone. So if you do, turn it off for us, please. If you don't, I apologize. And Mr. President, it's a good word, unplanned. But how does it affect Charlemont in a very specific way?
All right. To begin with, the covenant speaks to single residents, single family residents. I must apologize because we are actually on a main road, so forgive the background noise.
Yeah, man, go ahead. I'm hearing you, Tony.
The unplanned thing is that the character of the neighborhood is being changed. You are increasing the density and there's not sufficient accessories or facilities that is going alongside with the increase in residents. So for example, we have had in the Charlemont area, that is Charlemont Drive and Charlemont Avenue, maybe 8 developments taking place. So you're moving the population from approximately 40 persons to well over 100. So what it means is that there are persons who privacy has been impacted, airflow has been impacted, the water runoff has been impacted. And when the water runoff is impacted in our area, it's going to affect somewhere else because you have now, rather than the rainwater soaking away naturally, it's on concreted areas, it's running off into drains that were built several years ago, which is going to impact on flooding in some other communities somewhere else. So these are some of the things. So your quality of life has changed.
Okay.
You now have your neighbors looking right into your residence and you looking straight into their homes. It's untidy.
Okay.
And as we say, the number of persons who are the increase, you don't see any increase in park. For example, there is no additional recreational area for everyone.
Okay.
Pat, that's one of the things I wanted to raise with you because in my mind, once you have a plan for a community, there are certain amenities that must exist in those communities, and you're a built and natural environment advocate, and there are social things that have to happen. More and more, I wonder if we really take these things into consideration when we're putting up buildings in Jamaica, because they seem to be missing everywhere.
Oh, Delia, thank you so much for that question. It's a great question, and I wish I could answer you and say, yes, we do. The fact is that in terms of planning and development, some years ago, we had some plans and we had a number of key individuals employed in the governmental sector, such as trained and qualified architects and urban planners. Today, as you know and appreciate, the salaries and the incomes within the governmental sector is so low that government is unable to attract the qualified and competent persons. Believe me, I'm not saying that the persons employed, they are not competent, but there are certain levels of interface that needs to happen, especially in this 21st century, that our young people are being trained and skilled here in Jamaica to operate at a certain level for planning, but they're going overseas. And so we have a group here that's left, and they're alone. They are short staffed, they are overextended, and therefore unable to give the quality time and expertise that they should on the issues. Now, one of the things that we need to do immediately is to say, when you are making approvals for development, then there are certain things you need to do, like not allow the development to commence without the full approval and the modification of the covenants. Because some neighborhoods have been designated by the planning authority
Yes.
as low density, and therefore the covenants, the restrictive covenants, remain in those neighborhoods to prevent unplanned development.
Pat,
But
I'm gonna interrupt you because I want to add then, therefore, that the challenge, it sounds to me, is legislative and enforcing the policy and the things that are put in place to regulate what's happening. Is that the challenge?
Daily, I used to teach at UTech, and if
I
you were
know.
in the class, I would give you an A plus. You're so bright. Oh my goodness, you are correct.
Yeah, let me jump in, Tony, and play devil's advocate here. And Ms. Pat said unplanned, you said unplanned, and I know recently we had someone in court because they just decided to build something and they were told not to. But somebody must know about these things. Somebody must okay these things. Whether it's the right people okaying it or is another discussion. But Tony, I can't just come next door and just start build and don't get permission from anyone.
That's exactly what happens. The complaint that we have as an advocacy group is that there are approvals being granted without the neighbors knowing. The standard procedure is that if you plan to do a development or put up a building, you should serve notice on the community. You do your applications, the notice are publicized. We can look. If you have any objections, you have the ability to object. Certainly in our area, in one of the development that has taken place, when we saw the zinc fence going up and we start inquiring, we heard, oh, we have all our permits in hand. Nobody knew, no notices were served, or if notices were served, not the required amount, because in our investigation, we could only find maybe 2 persons in one instance.
Is that what you would like to see, Tony, or that is what it should be? Is that law, that if I go and build beside you, I need to call everybody and say, I go and build beside you? Or is that law, or is that what you think should happen?
No, it is law. It is a requirement, but the enforcement is not there. The other thing that is also happening is that you apply for permission to build 1 bedroom and you build 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms. This is happening every day straight across, and that's why people are going to court. In a lot of cases, they are successful, and the authorities are admitting that they are short-staffed, and this is what is happening. So it's not a question of, yes, it is something that we would like to see happen, but it's a desire that's grounded in law. It is what should happen, and it is not happening.
Okay.
Yeah. Pat, it's one thing to, I think, encroach on people's personal space, but speak to me from the perspective of the environment. Because clearly, a lot of these buildings also, some of them don't take that into consideration. I see a lot of buildings going up. We're not seeing green spaces. But we've signed conventions as far as protecting environment and climate change is concerned. So we're also not doing our part in terms of that aspect as well.
I thank you so much for that question, Delia, because when you look at some of the developments, and Anthony spoke about it recently, just earlier, you see that the entire ground space is covered in stone. You know, they have cobblestones all over, so there's no percolation of water into the ground. In addition, the communities were initially designed to have open spaces and detached houses. So you will have trees and various things. The trees help with hurricane mitigation. Let me tell you something, when the hurricane is coming, don't cut down your tree, because your trees take the force of the hurricane winds and protects your house. So what is happening is that these developments are removing the trees in our neighborhood. Then another environmental impact is important, which is important, is a sewage. We have a situation of contamination of our harbor and so on and so forth. So a central sewage system has been placed in our communities to for us to begin to connect. But what is happening? These developments are going, and they should not have been allowed because there's no central sewage system to support them. And so they're putting up a lot of building on a small area of land with inadequate storage, not connected to the central system. And that's an environmental impact, negative environmental impact. So we're having situations where our underground water, and this is where we get our drinking water, our potable water, our underground systems are about to be polluted because of the influx of these high-rise buildings, well, let me say multi-family dwellings that may have inadequate sewage. If you design it to have, let's say, 6 units, and then you suddenly increase your units to 12, and your design of your sewage system is for 6, and you haven't increased it because there's no land space, what do you think will be the environmental impact on our city?
Yeah.
And that's a major concern, and that's one of the main reasons we're speaking out. It needs to stop.
Yeah. Mr. President, where are we now with your problem and your community? Where are we? Have they already started? It too late to do anything? Are you asking for them to mash down what them start already? What are you asking the powers that be to do here?
It's never too late to start, never. And so what we are asking the powers that be is to abide by the existing regulations. The existing regulation speaks to 30 habitable room per acre. We are suggesting do not approve any building that is going to exceed what is in law that you are aware of. We are asking for proper notices to be erected so people can drive past. As it is now, you have pretty much not even a foolscap sheet of paper with a notice written on it that is posted that you need a magnifying glass to see. These are some basic things that we need to see done. In terms of the sewage, what is happening is that we understand that they need to abandon soakaway, and we accept that. Like we accept that you must have an increase in the number of residents offered to citizens. But what we find unacceptable is that the Water Commission has admitted that they don't have the money to have a central sewage plan, and it's installed on a phase basis. So what happened is that a developer identifies a plot of land, decides to build on the land, and sewage goes in. What does that mean? In an entire community, you could have a single road that has a sewage main on it. When you have the sewage main on it, we are now being told that your water rate is going to increase by 115%. So here it is, you have a community with 15, 20 avenues and only one has sewage. And that is because a developer decides that they are going to put in buildings on that road. These are things that it would be more acceptable if we know there's an overall plan and road A is going to be phase 1, and over time you are going to have this installed everywhere.
Yep.
But as it is now, you could very well have sewage on Charlemont, and for the next 15 or 20 years, there's no other avenue in the neighborhood that has sewage.
Yep.
This is what we are facing.
Yep. We have to go. It's a story and a conversation that is important, and it's a conversation that we could talk for much longer, but unfortunately we have to go. Great ideas from you both, and we hope that the powers that be are watching, are listening, and things will improve for all of us, not just your community, but for all of us. God bless you both. Stay safe. Thanks for being with us this morning.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Charlemont Citizens Association President, Olympian Anthony Davis, and Dr. Patricia Green, Built to Natural Environment Advocate. There you go. What's coming up now?
Should more be done to protect our residential communities from high-rise buildings?